Well, let's continue with our conversation on education. Now, this history syllabus overhaul would require quality teachers. We've got Jackie Mondi, who has just finished her degree in education at Wits University, and throughout her studies, she's been getting straight A's. Come on, I'm telling you now. She joins us now in studio for this conversation. Thank you so much, and congratulations to you, for passing. See, you can have a great Christmas because you passed.
Yes, awesome.
Now, but here's the thing. The problem is how the statistics are looking really bleak about the qualified or unqualified teachers in this country. And some of the statistics that came out just last year was about 5,139 teachers are underqualified or unqualified to teach in this country. So that says something about the need to get quality educators, one such as yourself, to actually come and form part of the curriculum. I mean, earlier on we were having a conversation about the history syllabus being overhauled, but in order to overhaul the system, you need quality educators who know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and we've just had hundreds of teachers qualifying now, together with me, the student teachers in my group. It doesn't make sense to me that we have so many unqualified teachers in classrooms when we have some qualified teachers actually still looking for jobs. Those who qualified last year and 2 years before are still looking for jobs. Some of my classmates are still going to struggle to find jobs. It doesn't make sense to me, you know. So I was even saying to my colleagues that we should start a movement to say we are here and actually go to those schools, except it might be unsafe for us to go to places where, you know, those teachers were employed under suspect circumstances, that we can't just go there and say, I'm here, I'm an English teacher, why is there someone who is not an English teacher teaching English, you know, or an isiZulu teacher teaching isiXhosa, you know, when there are qualified people, we know we've just gotten, we're getting our degrees, graduating in March next year, so it doesn't make sense to me.
So you're saying that, and allow me to play devil's advocate because I need to look at both sides of the coin. You're saying that some of the teachers are sitting at home without jobs. Could it possibly be that some of those teachers that are sitting without jobs do not necessarily want to be deployed to the various provinces? So, for example, the statistics are coming out and showing that in KZN, for example, they're the ones that are lagging behind rather, with the amount of qualified teachers that are available within the schooling system, right? And that is followed by I believe, the Northwest as well. We also have the Northern Cape that is also struggling. I think about 400 teachers there are underqualified or unqualified to teach. But if you have to take it back to the educators themselves, is it because they see a position in rural KZN and they go, no, not as attractive as I would like it to be, and therefore turn down some of the opportunities as opposed to them embracing some of those places that one may deem to be in the outskirts of South Africa?
I don't know. I'm not sure, though, because, you know, one of the subjects that I studied is isiZulu. I'm not isiZulu home language speaker, but I took isiZulu as my major, as my sub-major. And most of my classmates are from KZN. They've gone back home and they're looking for jobs. So I doubt that they would not want to work in KZN. I don't know. You know, I can't really say for sure, but I know that there are student teachers who qualified this year, and some of them are in KZN and they are looking for jobs.
Yes.
So I really don't know what the issues are there. But
so then, have you spoken to teacher union representatives? For example, Satu was the one that was complaining about how there needs to be better qualified teachers inside of the classroom. And if they are advocating for better teachers in the classroom, why aren't you doing something about taking out the bad apples, bringing in the good apples so that our kids can get a better education?
We had, you know, towards the end of the year, towards exams, when we finished our classes and everything, our school organized for teacher unions to come and talk to us because we're going to be qualified soon and tell us how to join the union, how it works and everything. Satu was invited. They didn't come. Only Naptoza came because we wanted to talk to them and find out, you know, what is happening. Why are you allowing unqualified teachers to be in classrooms? How are you going to help us? They didn't come.
They didn't pitch at all.
They didn't pitch. And Naptoza came, and when I asked the Naptoza person, she gave me the statistics of 5,000 and something, but it sounded to me that their interest was when they're more interested in you once you're qualified as a teacher. Before you become a member, you know, there is nothing much they can do for you. That was disappointing for me, but at least they came and addressed the students and told us.
Yeah, but then that's NAPTOSA. The other unions, there are other unions that are supposed to be representing teacher interests, and those teachers that actually want to teach properly. Are we going to find that if we do not support qualified teachers, that they're going to be going into the private schools, or if not, they're going to be going overseas? Because the alarming part is, you know, departments are saying with the lack of qualified teachers, they may need to start looking overseas for qualified teachers, which is not true as you're articulating.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of qualified teachers. I don't know why they would look for teachers overseas. And also, it would be really problematic because we already have issues with language. Kids not being able to read in their home languages, kids struggling to read with English, kids struggling with English because it's not their home language. So if you bring teachers from overseas, what's going to happen then? Because at least if I'm teaching, even if I'm teaching English, we call it code switch or trans language, move from English, explain something in isiZulu or Setswana or Sesotho because I'm based here, but a teacher from anywhere else will not be able to do that. So the situation will even be worse if they get teachers from overseas. I don't know if that would work.
And also, you're looking at starting a literacy center, so an English center or reading and writing center, rather, that would allow people to learn different languages, right, and be able to be equipped, because you're also focusing a lot on the language side of it in English. The statistics are alarming when it comes to how many kids cannot read with understanding. You're saying that about 75% of children in about grade 4 cannot read with understanding. They see the words don't make sense to them. That's 75% in this country, even in their own language. We're sitting with 25% of children in grade 4 that can actually read with understanding.
That's the study, according to the PILS study, I think that was done in 2016. So it's a big problem. You know, when we go for teaching practicals, as student teachers, we go for teaching practicals.
I think about 2 months or 1 month that you spend in some of the schools.
Well, we spent 6 weeks, invested 6 weeks. And, you know, what was disappointing for me is that there isn't a lot of reading time allocated. I was teaching a grade 7 class. I think in the 6 weeks that I was there, we only did one reading session, one reading for pleasure. The rest was trying to catch up with the curriculum. And I found myself spending about a week and a half teaching grade 7 children how to take minutes, how to do an agenda. Why do grade 7 kids need to know how to do an agenda? And then we say, okay, let's read individually. Then the kids go silent. They don't want to read. They are afraid. Grade 7 kids. It's very, very worrisome.
You're speaking about it being worrisome. My then point of grievance is the fact that we're preparing these children for outside of the schooling environment, and then we wonder why is it that a lot of them cannot get into good quality higher learning institutions, because they're not qualified enough, because they don't know how to read. And when they get to higher education, they still struggle and fail first year because they're not equipped enough when it comes to reading.
And writing. So even, I mean, universities, Wits has a writing center to support students who have, you know, like first years, to help them, because academic work is about writing. And students struggle with writing, and academic writing is, you know, when I started, I thought this is the worst kind of writing because it's very technical, you need to know. And so if you can't write just basic sentences, imagine having to, you know, cite authors and all that and write in a particular style. It's a struggle. So so they have to go to the writing center to get the support, and some, you know, kind of get the hang of it and get better. And, you know, from my view, if you can write well at university, you've got about 30% of your problems at varsity sorted. Then the other time is spent on content. But if you can't write well, it's going to be a really huge struggle for you. So then
what do you do? So, because we know where the problem is, right? We know what the issues are. Then how do you start salvaging the matter? Because for me, it's you and I having an intellectual conversation about what needs to happen within our education system so that our children, who are the ones that are mostly affected, can be helped. It does not help in any way. So what do you do as a straight A educator who is qualified, who's graduating next year? This is, you know what I'm saying? Like a parent watching this is scared because 25% of children in this country in grade 4 know how to read with understanding. The 75% have got no clue. And that's a problem, because that is somebody that's going to go into university, and that's somebody that is going to want a job someday. So what do you do? What do the qualified, educated teachers do who want to actually change the system?
You know, so for me, it's a struggle. Hence, I'm saying that what I want to do is to start a reading and writing center for kids. It will start small, but I went to varsity to learn all these things, to understand how children learn, so that when I set up the center, I have the means. And also when I ask people for money to support, I can say I am qualified. I'm not just doing this out of the love of reading and writing. But we need to change. You know, they're talking about changing the curriculum for history. We need to look at all the subjects and why, like I said, the whole thing about teaching grade 7 learners how to take minutes, how to do an agenda. They don't need that. It's not meaningful in their lives. They don't do minutes in their lives. So you need to teach them something that will help them make meaning of their lives, to communicate, to get better, to improve their vocabulary.
Are you putting enough pressure, though, on the trade unions? And I'm saying this because you had invited SATU to come and give you information. Is there no way of going back to SATU saying, we are here, and not just here via petition, but really being deliberate in, we are here, we actually want to teach these children, we're actually qualified enough to teach these children, so make a way for us in the system so that the kids can get a good quality education?
Yeah, it's a movement we'll start together with my, my fellow classmates. We will start the We Are Here movement, because we need jobs, but we are qualified. We are very well trained to teach children. We know how to teach children in a meaningful way, in a way that will, whatever subject we'll be teaching, it will be in a way that it will be meaningful to them. Whether it's maths, whether it's science, whether it's history, we have been taught that, how to teach that. So we will put pressure on them. We will, because we can't have student teachers, qualified students, sitting at home when people who are unqualified are continuing to damage our children. Actually, yeah, but they're not doing any good if kids can still read at this point in time. So,
well, We Are Here movement. I definitely look forward to having another conversation with you, where you say to me, we've at least got about 100,000 people that want to go into the schools and teach them. Thank you so much for joining us.
Only a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Out there, we're looking at having that conversation, and how is it that we can better the education system with good, qualified teachers. Jackie Mondi there having a conversation with us.